Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to our class on the basics of FirstNet. I'm super excited to have you. I am your instructor. My name is Stacy Crawford. So let's begin this fun journey, shall we? Okay, today the whole class is going to be revolving around FirstNet. FirstNet is strictly for our emergency management systems here at VCU, and we absolutely adore it. It's fantastic. So that's what we're going to be covering today. Why they chose me to cover this for you today is because I am from our emergency room. I initially started my nursing career about 7-8 years ago, I think. I started in the pediatric ICU, where I worked for many years and loved it, absolutely loved it, but felt I needed a little bit more, so I converted over to ER trauma, which is an absolutely amazing role. If you ever get the chance, by all means, try to work in it. It's fantastic. So I did that for a good couple of years here at VCU before I transitioned on to our Cerner training team, using a lot of my clinical expertise, bringing it to Cerner, and now I educate our masses on how to run this system. I am currently right now in a master's program working on my master's in nursing informatics, so hopefully I'll have that here soon too. So teaching, treating, kind of what I do, so welcome. All right, so for today, the fun things we're going to be doing, if I can get my system to work, because you know it never actually works too well. You know, we're going to be going over our scenario that I have for everyone. If you look at your desk, you can see everyone's got their scenario in front of them. Just as yours to keep, you can have it, love it, make it your own, write notes on it, whatever you need to do. Use it as a reference later. This is for you. So we've got that. I also have everyone with their little ID card. This is the login you will use, and we'll all go over that in just a minute. We are going to be working in our train domain today, so whatever you do, we call it the Cinderella domain, it will reset at midnight, so don't worry if you push a wrong button or if something happens that you're not sure about. It's okay, we're in the train domain, so that's a plus for today. Also, stop me at any minute. I do not mind anybody asking me a question. Just throw up a hand and we will work through it. I also, in this class, will try to give you a lot of clinical expertise and a clinical of the whys. So know that you'll have that too. Bathrooms are right outside if anybody needs those, because those are always important. And in about an hour, I will also try to do a quick break. I'm one of those that needs to get up and move around after a little bit of time. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. Cover all of our little housekeeping things. Everybody should be hooked into a system, not a problem. So I think we are actually ready to roll for this. Okay, all right, guys, here we go. So a little bit of the things we're going to cover today, because I always like to tell everybody what we're doing. I definitely want to get you into the system. We're going to walk through a login. I'm going to give you a bunch of just the basics of the screen, what's on here, what applies to what position a little bit, just the overall layout, because it's based on the tracking board, and I know that's a little bit different for most. But it's nothing like what you would see in the rest of the hospital anywhere. Ambulatory, inpatient, ER is its own special little beast. So we really do, we focus all on the tracking board. I will walk you through all of that. So I want to get you very familiar with that scene, that mindset going on there. I do want to walk you through bringing in a patient, treating them, putting in orders, functioning in that patient's chart. So I really want to get that down. There's a little bit of crossover between what you would see in, say, the ambulatory setting and to FirstNet, but this is really just all tracking board, but we will go over all of that, I swear. And the last thing I really want us to focus on, because we only have 2 hours today, is discharging the patient. The infamous words of treat and street in the ER. Yes, that's kind of what we do, and that's kind of how we chart. So this is kind of all what we're going to do for today. But we'll walk through it, like I said, at any time. If you need to stop me, if you have a question, if you need something, no worries. We will go at the pace you need today. So, all right, friends, let's begin. So anytime you walk up into a computer anywhere in the emergency room, and the great thing is about this as well is that you can log in on multiple machines. I don't suggest it. I don't want you doing it, but it can be done. So don't think just because you logged in on one, you can't log into the next. But what we really want to do is when you walk up to every screen, You're going to see all of these fun icons everywhere. Most of them don't apply to anything that you're going to do, but the one that really does is down here, right here, that says Cerner. We will double click on that little guy, and you're going to get a screen that's going to pop up like this. Now I'm going to make it large so everyone can see it. And you see that there's a bunch of components to this. You'll have this little guy here called Power Chart, right? That is more of inpatient and ambulatory stuff. The docs will go into that to do some charting, but if we're nursing, which is kind of where our focus is today, we're going to stay out of Power Chart. The thing that we're really going to see right here, FirstNet, big E, it's red, you can't miss it. Sorry, I do talk a lot with my hands, guys. Forgive me for this, but can't help it. It's what I do. So we're going to go to this little spot. We're going to see this E. We are going to double click on it and give it a minute. It's a big system. It's a big place. Sometimes it just takes a minute. There we go. It's thinking about it. Okay, so what you'll see is this. Now, everyone, if you want to pick up your handy dandy little ID cards here, everyone had a specific login. This is not your actual Cerner login. This is the one we are using for training for today. So don't take this and start working the clinical side like, oh, this is my login, because it's not. And we also want to remember that we are also going into our train domain, which I made the mistake here of not, but actually this will work out for a minute because I can show you what we're talking about. We have multiple domains here, not just training, but multiple domains. The one that you will work in when you're on the floor will be prod, the production one. So if you look right here, right there, so I can keep it going there, you will see one, it says P831. That tells you what domain you're in. You can't switch it, so don't try. But this is production. P stands for production. So if you see that, you know you're in the real live patient caring system. So quickly, because I made my little mess up today, I'm going to get out of this super quick. I'm going to close all these little tabs, and I'm going to go over here to our training domain and log in there. Even the instructors can make mistakes, friends. It's okay. Oh, our system must be really slow today. Okay, so coming here, I'm going to do the same thing I did a minute ago. We're going to come right here to FirstNet. We can see it right there. Double click on it and give it just another moment to do what it needs to do. We're still thinking. There we go. There's our login. And again, if you want to look down here, guys, right there, it says T2831. That's our train domain. So that we can use the logins that I gave everybody. Everybody have them? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, good, good, good. Go ahead, click in the box because it will wait for you to do that. CBRN01. Now that is your username and password, just as it is listed on your sheet. And let's see if I can pull it down here. It's the middle of my screen. Now, it's a little different when I'm screen sharing, but you guys get it. This alert will pop up anytime you log in. This is great if you're in production. It gives you little tidbits about the system, if there's an update, if there's a downtime, something that system-wide we need everybody to know. So if you have read it and seen it and love it, and you're good with all the information it's given you, if you come down here, right here, click that, because this says don't show it again until new information has been posted. It will bypass this the next time you log in until something new that the system has generated will pop up. If the information is here and it's critical to your day and you love it and need it, want to have it, some people do, and that's fine, you can print it right here. It says print. You're more welcome to push that little button and it will let you print. If you have read it, life is good, and you don't need it, you can simply hit close and it just goes away. Now, this screen right here, this is our tracking board. Please don't get overwhelmed. There is a whole lot of information on it, but I'm going to talk you through it. It's going to be fine. I swear, I swear, I swear. So what we have here, like I said, it's the tracking board. It's the basis for everything that is done in the emergency room, right, friends? Yep, yep. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up, make sure I'm on time today. Don't want to mess the times up. Okay, so what we've got up here, just pointing to random things up here. We can see all up here, friends, all of this. Those are buttons we can use to do some other things that we may need to document. I will go more into that in just a minute, so don't get upset yet, but just know that that's up there. The one thing I do want to show you quickly is this exit button. Anytime you want to log out of this system, please use this button right here. It might not be in that exact spot, depending on screen width and whatnot. It might move around just a touch, but please do not go up here and use that red X to log out of this system. Please come over here and always use that, okay? It can lock up the system if you're using the red X sometimes, and it just creates a little bit more back-end problematic networky stuff. Very technical term, I know. So always use this little exit button to get out. Okay, so now that we're looking at this, you're thinking, oh, mother of mercy, there is so much information here. What am I going to do with it? It's okay, I promise. All of these tabs up here are the different sections of the emergency room. I'm just highlighting it so you guys can see. The good thing about this health system is that CMH, we know the hospital down in South Hill, we can see their patients, they can see ours, and I'll talk through that in just a minute. We also can see pediatrics. Pediatrics can see us, and all of the 4 or 5 sections were broken down into, because we have EDR, which is the trauma bay. We've got blue, green, yellow, and S, the secure unit. So we've got a couple of different, oh, and we also have triage, wait, and fast track. Sorry. So we've broken our 100-bed ER into little sections. It's just a little easier to manage. And each of these tabs kind of correlate to that specific area. But let me go back to that CMH real quick. Why we can see theirs and they can see ours, it's because we're going to be able to transfer patients between the two, not so much coming from Richmond down to CMH, but a lot from CMH up here back to Richmond. We simply have more services. We are the trauma center. So if patients meet those criteria and whatnot, they will be sent to us. The great thing is that we don't have to wait for a records transfer or something. We can see their data in real time. What's been done, who's seen them, what they charted, either while the patient is there, while they're in transport, or right before they get to us. So we get a really good picture. So that's very, very helpful. So that's why you see CMH down here. Pediatrics is always fun. I love peds. I do come from peds, although I don't work here in our peds ER. We have 2 separate ERs. We have one that's all peds and one that's strictly adult. So pediatrics, why we can see that kind of back and forth, if you want to know, because I'm a why person, I like to know, nurses do this. With some of our pediatric patients, because of their size, and I say that because I've seen some 14-year-olds that were the size of a full-grown adult, and some 80-year-old ladies that were the size of a pediatric child. So it's just kind of a reference, kind of see. Sometimes we can take some of their patients as they get really full. The patients kind of meet our criteria and whatnot. So it's really just boils down to a better means of communication, which we love. We love to talk. It's what we do. So sorry, I'm a little animated. I had enough coffee today. So does everybody understand that? Does that make sense to everybody? Good? We're good? Okay. All right, good. I talk a lot. I talk real fast, and it makes sense in my brain sometimes, so I want to make sure I'm conveying the message to you guys. I really want you, and I actually need you to understand this. You're going to want to understand this for your job. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same playing level. And really, with these tabs, it's really fun because whatever tab you click on, it doesn't delete anything from anybody else. It's no different than if you have a folder. Think if we're all old enough to remember paper charting. You had the folder and you had the different tabs. And even if you flip the tab over, it didn't change the information. That's exactly what's going on here. So if I come over here and I am currently in my screening and triage tab right here, right? And I want to see what's going on in green ED all patients, right? I'm just going to hit the tab. That's it. Doesn't delete anybody. It doesn't do any harm to any patient information. It just shows me the different sections. It's almost like I just walked into a new room. A lot of you being in nursing is my focus for today, I think. I've got a few docs, one doc, NP, okay. But most of my nursing people, this is a little bit more applicable to you guys and some of my docs, but because we get assigned to units, like you'll be green room 1 through 4. So you'll go in and you'll work that. Or you're the attending for the green side. So you can see all the patients at one time, but this is where they all live. And like I said, just changing a tab. If you were, say, the attending on call or attending in charge, however you want to word that, and you have a green patient who, I'm just going to say they were in room green 20, and they found out they were having a STEMI, and you wanted to pop them over to EDR, right? Or vice versa, either way. They're better and you need to move them out. You can just flip the tab, like if I'm in green now, because I'm in the green tab, right? I can flip over to EDR, and it just show me all the patients in there. So really not a big deal. You're just flipping tabs, no different than flipping tabs in a book. Information doesn't change. It's just a little way to navigate if you want to see some other stuff. You don't have to move these around. Like, they will stay stationary in their build. Like, you can't rearrange the tabs up here, but you can certainly just click on the ones that you need to because of whatever you need for that day. And really, if you want to know what's in the tab itself, you just read the heading and it will just tell you. So it's pretty simple. It's really, really well laid out. Very simple. Everybody cool with tabs? Do they make sense to you? Yeah. Okay. Really? Okay. Oh yeah. No, it's really, you just flip it. It doesn't change anything. Absolutely. You're good. You're good. Yep. Okay. So you're looking at this screen going, I get the tabs. Tabs make sense. But what is the rest of this? Okay. And this is really our tracker board, friends. Sorry, my allergies are playing havoc on me today. So this is the tracker board, like we said, all little bits and pieces of it. And we can flip this around to make it work for us. I'm going to see, give me just a minute. I had a little thought process. Here we go. They come few and far between these days. Okay, so what's going on here is any patient that comes into the ER and is assigned a room, and we will go over that in a few minutes. I want to get you guys through this first. I want you to see what's here and understand it before we start moving it to a different location. What we've got here right now is just a tracker. These patients have already been through triage. We know this process. Yes, we know. Okay. They've already been through triage. They have been placed into a room due to their acuity. What we use here for everyone is the ESI model, 1 being the absolute most critical, 5 being a work note, essentially. I don't know how to say that. It's kind of, you know, low need, low level, not critical kind of thing. So they've been delineated out to the space they need. So this is kind of the layout right here, right? I'm just, so you guys can kind of focus on where I'm going. This is my little section. Okay, so what we need to do first is just kind of go and think about this as like an Excel spreadsheet. You've got your columns up here, right? Alert, MRN, bed number, length of stay, this stuff up here. And then you've got all of your rows, right? All down here. Yep, okay. Okay, so columns will stay the same. They do not change, right? Okay. The rows down this way are all pertaining to a singular patient, right? Okay, this is just like Excel. I hate to be so blatant about that, but like in my brain, that's kind of how it made more sense to know what I was thinking about, because it looks just like one, and it is one. It's fantastic. So if I'm thinking right here, And I want to talk about Bonnie ED002 because that's my patient, right? That's my patient. This blue line, right? Blue triangle right there says I have highlighted her and all of her information because all of her information, I'm assuming it is a girl, is going to be on this row, right? Does that make sense? Yeah, if you click, double click on it right there. Yeah. See how it makes sense? It does? Okay, good. Sorry, again, guys, I talk a lot with my hands, I'm real sorry. But that would be that when you get that blue arrow, you highlighting all the information for that patient, and it highlights it all the way through, right? So as with anything, we can always scroll right down here, right? Big blue bar. We can keep scrolling. Now, again, there's not going to be a whole lot of information in here right at this moment because this is our train domain. We do a lot of stuff in here. We will be inputting some information later on. But again, this our section is just getting you familiar with the tracker board and what all things can happen here. So again, as you scroll, you can see that right here, this whole section right here, right, the pertinent information is frozen. Frozen up to the age, I believe, right? See? Yep. So I can shift this all the way around, however I want to, but right here is going to be a frozen pane. So none of this information over here is going to change or move. Just what I like to call the assessment, the particulars of the patient, not the patient information itself, right? Okay, because you guys can see if I scroll back this way, now you can see my allergies column, my chief complaints, stuff like that. Okay, so that's kind of what's going to go on. So this kind of line will stay highlighted all the way through. So if you scroll all the way over here, you'll still see that same line. So that you're not looking at the wrong vital signs for a patient or something like that. Okay, we're good, we're solid, makes sense? Yes, you'll have to double click on that patient first. There you go, then it shows up. Okay, good, you got it? Okay, all right, wonderful. Okay, friends, so let's talk about these columns for a minute. The first one will always be bed, right here, right? Bed, that's the bed they're in. For us here at VCU, this is green 1, green 2, green 3. They're all single rows. So they're all going to be like green 01A. There are no double rooms here. So everything's going to be an A room, right? Because A and B, by the B, remember the whole B's by the window? That's how I remembered it upstairs. Yeah, I know. Because I could always get confused with what patient I was walking into. So all of our rooms here are singular, so it's all going to be A rooms, right? Okay, good. The good thing with this, if you notice, if I click on this, that little tiny gray arrow pops up, and you can make this into the ascending, descending order. It sorts it. So you'll still, it will sort it, but it keeps all the information together. So don't think if I sort just the bed column that it's going to mess up the data downstream, right? No, it's all linked together. So if you're a person who likes to see, 15 at the top and 1 at the bottom, you can do it, or one, vice versa, however you want to do that. Then we're going to come over here. Now, another little side note too, and I'll point this out quickly because you can see how this is very squished right here, right? You can see how you feel like there's a little bit more to that word. You want to see it. The good thing with this, if you hover right there and you get that double line, you can extend it out, and now it extends out the column, right? And you can see bed status. Bed status right now, and the way we program the system is not terribly important. You will not see a lot of information usually pop up there, and the information that you do is not relevant to anything that we would need in the emergency room. I think bed management uses that more than we will ever. Oh, sorry, I need a sip of water. But this next button here, again, if you need to see a time, we're just going to extend it out. You just hover, get that double line right there. See that little double line? Beautiful. And just drag it over to wherever you need to. Basic computing. Doesn't really change much there. But LOS is a length of stay. Now, unfortunately, our poor patients here have been here for quite some time. Probably want to leave at some point. But that will give you length of stay. And we know in the world of metrics right now, which healthcare is just in, time is everything, right? TPA times, you know, door to cast, you know, door to balloon time. Everything is timed. So this just gives you an idea of how long this patient's been here. Sometimes it's warranted. Sometimes they had to be here for 5 or 6 hours because they needed repeat troponins and this was going on and they're whatever. I mean, we've held patients up to 48 hours, especially like cold and flu season. Patients can be down here for days. So that just gives you kind of an indicator of how long has this patient been here? What do I need to do? Also, hey, is there something I'm missing? Am I waiting on a lab? Just kind of an indication. Length of stay. All right. Okay. So again, my little columns are very squished today, so I'm going to move this one out as well. And this is our acuity. Now, this is generally going to be assigned, this should always be assigned at triage. I'm just going to say that. If for some reason they did direct bedding and popped them right into this room, the triage documentation will walk you through and ask you. But if not, if it has changed, or the report they gave in triage is not the report they gave here in the back, happens all the time. We know this, right? It's not so bad up front, but you get back here and it's really, really bad. Yeah, we have that all the time. So, you know, don't think you can't change it, but this is where it would be listed. I want to show you this real quick. 2 things. If I needed to change it for a patient, you simply double click and it gives you all of our options. I know I said ESI 5 to 1 or 1 to 5. 0 we don't use, but 6 is expired. That does happen, you know, per hospital policy and whatnot. But say this patient is, you know, coming in for abdominal pain, but it's not that critical today, they will be assigned the acuity level and you will see it here, right? And you can see how they will change colors as to the level. 1, obviously red, important, get it done now kind of thing. You can see it kind of gets down. If I double click and I give them a 5, it's a blue because it's not that bad, right? This is just another visual representation of a down and dirty what's going on in your patient, right? Okay, make sense? Yep. I'm sorry. No, I don't. As far as I know of right now, we are not changing triage models. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just the trainer. I'm not privy to all of that. But for right now, this is the triage model that we're going with. Good question, though. I like it. Thank you. No, you know, healthcare is always changing, so we've got to be up on that. So I like thinking down the road. Awesome. Okay, so name obviously is their name. If you happen to see some of these show up in italic, kind of like down here where it says RAA 071, if you see that, that's a name alert. If you have 2 patients with the last name of Smith, or you know, something of that nature where the names are very similar, the system will auto do name alerts, right? It will, and it's a visual, again, a visual representation of, hey, you need to be cognizant of this thing because there's something going on, right? Don't want to click on the wrong patient? Good. Okay. Alerts. These are fantastic. This is something relatively new we've instituted here, and I know there's nothing here right now, but we will get add some further down the road. And assigning a relationship is something we'll talk about in a few minutes. Don't worry. But I want to show you this so you see. Of course, it doesn't want to let me do it today. But generally what you're going to see here, let me scroll down. Do I have anybody with one? No, of course not, but that's okay. These are alerts like frequent flyers, because we know we're starting to have problems with those patients. It'll be a little airplane. Falls risk, you'll have a little person that's kind of falling over. Sepsis, we know that's a big one. So there will be little icons that will indicate to you that, hey, there's something going on in the back of your mind. You need to keep just keep there for about this patient, right? Okay. And again, these are just visual. You don't have to do anything for this column. Just see it, know it. Okay. Then you have your MRN, your medical record number. This follows this patient every single time they ever come into this hospital system for anything, ambulatory, outpatient, surgeries, ED visits, regular doctor's visits, inpatients, you name it, they get one number. We try really hard to stick to that. Age column, obviously, is their age. We need to know that. But the cool thing is you get a pink little background for a girl and a blue for a boy. And I know people are going, well, why would you, that seems pretty apparent. Not always. My name's Stacy, right? Stacy. That can easily go boy or girl. Leslie's another one. Sam. I'm just giving you ideas. So if you see those names, this is and if you walk into a patient's room and you're like, well, the computer says, you know, one thing and there's something else going on in the room, you know, it just kind of gives you a visual, things you want to make sure that everything's going on as to what you see here. But this is just kind of a quick representation of patient status, essentially. So, okay. Our next little column here is allergies. When your allergy profile is filled out, when you do your screen and triage, you get, this alert will change colors as depending on what kind of allergy they may have. So that's always there. Their chief complaint, again, entered through triage, but you get to see all of the chief complaints that they have. And this can be either free text or chosen from a list. So, and the triage nurse will do that. And again, I'll keep telling you, we're going to walk through this, I swear. But I wanted to get you guys familiar with this kind of piece to the puzzle first. Sorry, my allergies are really, really going bonkers on me today. Okay, so then we're going to come into these three little columns, right? MD, RN, Res. We are a teaching facility, so we will always, sorry? Yeah, I'm sure I had you that in a second. I promise, we're going. I love your thought process, though. I love that you're wanting to do those things so that you would know how. That's fantastic. All right. Sorry for anybody else that didn't hear. The question was, how do we assign ourselves to this? And I will show you in just a minute, but I want to walk you through this first. We've got so many cool things. I'm so happy that somebody was like, I know how to do this and I want to do it. So, okay. So we've got our MD, our RN, and our resident. Like I said, BCU is obviously you guys know, a teaching hospital. We have residents all the time. It is July 2nd right now, so we just got a whole new crop. Yay, awesome, love it. So this is where they can sign up for an individual patient, so that you, at a glance, can just see, that's my doctor, that's my nurse, that's my resident. You don't have to go ask and hunt down. It's all right there for everyone to see. So we can sign up for these, and I'll show you them in a minute. That you can sign up, see who it is. It's, again, a visual, a down and dirty visual. That's the whole idea of the tracking board. It's just let me look at it so I don't have to go digging through the charts. So it would be right here. And I promise I will show you these momentarily. I promise. Okay, so we're going to keep kind of trucking on down the line here. And I know I'm moving maybe a little fast, but I want to make sure you guys get all of this information today because we don't have but so much time, but this is really fun, good stuff. So the next thing that we've got going on is my little column here, med notifications. Like I said, I'm going to do this number. You can see the rest of that. Meds notification, IV, and IV stop times. These are four little things that I like to talk about together because they are dependent on orders. Some of these columns auto-populate from triage. Some come from ordering. Some come from you actually physically having to touch them to make things happen. So these are four little columns that come from the orders themselves. Anytime a medication is ordered, it will populate in the cell for that patient with a number. If they ordered 3 or 2 or 9 or whatever's been ordered, the number that's been ordered will pop up there. If there is, and this is medications, I want to make this delineation very, very clear. This is med, right? Not IV medication, right? Okay. If it has some kind of fluidity to it in a bag of some sort, we know what that is, right? Okay. It's going to pop over in the IV. So I like to make that delineation. Especially for my nurses in this group right now. So you'll have a med and then an IV section, right? And that's what we're talking about now. Okay, so the meds are your meds that are ordered. Your notifications, this is important as a means of communication that you can come in here and edit. The meds I can't, that gets driven by the orders, but I can come in here, and if there's a medication that we don't keep in the emergency room, there are some antibiotics we don't keep, some blood pressure medications we don't keep, simply because they don't last very long at all and we don't use them enough, right? Okay, makes sense, yep. No, Levofed is one that we would keep in there. We might not keep it in green, but we would keep it in the Pyxis in the trauma bag, right? And this is just a side note, guys. Some places you might have to go to a different Pyxis to get the med, but there you go. But anyway, if you've had to order it from pharmacy or you had to stop it for them to go to MRI, and this is more of my nursing people's, but the docs can at least know what's going on with this. This just gives you a little piece of communication to tell them about one of the drugs, right? So I can hit requested, and most of the time within ER, we know we don't order a lot of medications, but if, say, there's an antibiotic we don't use often, and we had to order it from the pharmacy, we can put that there and say it's been requested, so that everybody knows, hey, I know they don't have it yet, but it's on its way. So it's, again, just a fun little means of communication right there, right? Choose whatever works for you that day. Okay, there we go. You cancel it out. Okay, good. All right, so our IVs, get talking today. This will show up from the orders. This is system driven, not an us driven. And it will tell just a number, 5, 2, 8, whatever the number is, and it will show the number there. Now, this IV stop times is something that's a little bit more just to VCU, because what's happening with our system, because we like to know the whys. I'm a why person. I want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. This will show us, we actually have to go in as the nursing staff. Docs and NPs won't do this, but the nursing staff will. We will come in and actually say, I hung this IV and it ran for an hour, 30 minutes, 3 hours, whatever time it was. So this is a little indication of, hey, you have an IV that you haven't charted the stop time on. Again, another visual. We love visuals in the ER because we're much faster paced than maybe some of the other units. So that's just a little, you'll see the icon pop up. Sorry, I can't recreate it for you right now, but it looks like a little IV bag slide. You pull next to it, and it will just say, hey, there's one that you haven't documented against yet. So we'll go in and do that one. So it will sit there. Our PSC, this is provider initial contact. So this is much more for the providers. So when they enter into a room, they can go in and click them or the scribe. They have scribes. Y'all have scribes. No, it's funny. Some people get very excited because they never had scribes before. And our scribes here are phenomenal. They sit through a lot of these same classes. So it's, they just get so excited. They've never, coming out of residency and stuff, they just get excited. I think it's fine. But anyhow, this will set the benchmark for the patient came into the ER, was triaged, was roomed. Now the doc is now having initial contact. That kind of timestamps that little activity. Okay. Activities is not something we really use a whole lot here. Actually, again, it's one of those I don't think we really use at all. I don't see a lot ever cropping up into this section. It's there. I talk about it other than it just be a kind of a blank section. Cosign. This is a little spot that will give you a little icon that says you need to cosign for a student nurse that you might be working with, for your resident, for your NP. It just pops up with a little icon, and I'm sorry again, I can't make that icon happen for you right now. But I have a big list that I'm going to give out by the end of the class of all the icons if you just want to peruse it. Mind you, do not try to memorize it, but just kind of familiarize yourself with some of the big players. So this is just the spot that says, hey, there's something that you need to go cosign. Usually, I say this usually, double clicking on that section will take you to the thing it's asking you for. So if I come in here and I double click on cosign, most of the time it will route you to the note or the item that needs to be cosigned. So that's just a fun little spot. Okay, events is kind of where we're all going to live most of our lives. This is the coup de grace, the queen bee of ER workings. because this is a section that hits everything. Registration looks here, lab looks here. It can be entered manually. It's driven by orders. It's kind of the all-inclusive spot area for everybody, for anything that you need to know on this patient. Again, I want to remind everyone that I said, remember when we've highlighted back over here, our little blue triangle, right? Blue arrow, however you want to word that. Follow it all the way over here, right, because we're still on just this one patient, because these little boxes can get very, very full very quickly. What you kind of have here is just a little basic a couple of basic icons that kind of happen initially with all of our patients, but a bunch can be added in, and I'm going to go over those in just a couple of seconds, I promise. But the one thing I do want to point out very quickly, because like I said, this little box is going to get very, very full very, very fast, is what I love to call the hover to discover. And this works for everything. Anything you can think of, hover to discover. If you just put your little happy mouse right on the thing that you're questioning, it will tell you about it. It's amazing. So you can see that order was put on April the 30th at 9:55 a.m. It is the triage. So if it says event, that's the name of the icon. This one is called triage. They're requesting it. It's been there forever. Sorry. And you can see where it says right here, where it says, oh, I can't get over there, sorry. Where it says user at the end of this box, it will say system. The system put that in there, right? All right, cool. Come over to this one. If I hover to discover once again, we're going to be looking at the registration key. So whenever registration is done with all that they do, that will go away. We also have this one, which is the RN exam. So RNs know, hey, if I see this, I haven't done my full assessment on my patient, have I? Nope, nope, nope. Okay. This one is a resident exam. I have a resident assigned to me. They haven't done theirs. This is the MD exam. So like I said, friends, hover to discover, because you're never going to remember all of these icons. So just hover over them and see what's going on here. Like I said, this can be, a lot of these are system driven. Again, we can see at the tail end of this little says user. I can't click over there. If I move my mouse, it won't let me keep showing this to you. It says user at system. Now, a lot of this is order driven as well. So if I come in for this, if I'm the physician and I come in for this patient and I order labs and x-rays, you'll see a bunch of icons popping up. If I am a nurse and I know this patient needs a consult or an EKG, because we do have some standing orders here, I can come in and put those in. And I want to show you how to do that very quickly since I'm already here. If I come into this section, I'm in the event section, right? Right here. Here's all my icons, and you right click. Remember that little right click thing? Yeah, the one on, yeah, that one. That one right there. Yep. It brings up this box. Did you get this box? Click off of that real quick. Yeah, great, right there. Double click on that patient. Either one, doesn't matter. Yep. Okay, yep, and then you just come all the way over to the events column, scroll over, yep, good. Right click right there. Perfect, okay, that's it. Yep, all right, perfect. See, sorry, correct. It brings this up. Now this, again, is overwhelming. Please don't let it overwhelm you, friends. It's very simple. Just take a breath, we'll breathe. Okay, sorry. But this is where we can come in and add, cancel, complete, do some things that need to happen. Like I said, most of your meds, lab orders, x-rays, stuff like that are system driven, but every once in a while you get something that needs to be, that isn't system driven, and I need to manually put it in, right? Okay, and the biggest one that I always pick up is if you come up here, right here to where it says FNE request. FNE is our forensic nursing. We have a fantastic forensic nursing program here, and they are some of the most compassionate, caring, thoughtful people I've ever met in my life. I love working with them. But that, you can put in an order for a consult, but it won't put in for an FNE request. So this is where you would have to come in, and if you simply click the button, it turns blue. We like to see that, right? You'll also notice something down here, right? Down here in this section right here, I'm pointing down here, just to give you guys an idea. With me? Yeah, click on FNE, check the box right there, yep. Okay, good, all right, you're with me. So we'll see down here, right? Right. So I just clicked that FNE request. So let's look at it. It tells you the time that I did it, the event or the icon, the name of the icon essentially, the status that I requested it, and the user. You can see that now. You can see I did that one. It was a me driven, not a system driven. The other ones were system driven ones, right? Not that makes a big difference, but this is kind of good if you're, say, the resident and the nurse had come up to you and the attending and said, oh, I think this person needs an EKG or something, and you want to know if the resident did it or the doc did it, or, you know, vice versa, you want to know who did it, this will tell you. This will tell you the login. I am now today logged in as EDRN01 in the train domain, right? That's my training. If not, it would say Crawford RN, Stacy. It would be me, right? Okay, so you'll see right there. Yep, that would be your, yeah, that would be your particular one. This is just training for today. Yeah, just training. But if it was you, it would say Ron Thomas, right? Okay, yep, Ron Thomas, MD. I think, but I wouldn't quote me. I don't know how they're doing the acronyms for names these days, but you would easily identify whoever put it in. Or if they put something in wrong, I hate to say people do that, but they do that. We're all human. It happens. So if I meant to put in an FNE, but I put in, you know, EKG. I don't know. Somebody heard me wrong. You can just kind of see what happens so that you don't either repeat work or you can fix something that happens, right? Okay, that's how if you want to add something in, friends. If for some reason you had done something and you wanted to complete it, a lot of times, let me do this quickly so you can see it, and we got to hurry up because I want to get you guys a little break before we jump into charting on people. Let me see. I was trying to look for, I thought, lab. Here we go. Right there. Sorry, friends. I wanted to see that. I put in for a lab, a CBC, a CMP, a Kenemate, Troponin, whatever we needed to do. It's right there. And say I had completed it. Now, the cool thing is, let me move this back up, sorry. This will allow me, if I double click on the status, to change the status, right? Much like we did for the meds, we can come back and do this. It can be start, complete, request, cancel, whatever you need to do. So say I had collected, you know, actually let me do this real quick. Let's do this because I want to show you. I'm going to side note for a minute. Sorry, friends, hang with me. Let me apply this real quick. And I'm going to hit OK because I want you to see something. Everyone can see that this little icon just popped up. Yeah. You have to hit apply. Yep, hit apply right there. Awesome. Yep. All right, now give it a second, hit apply. Yep, give it a second, the system will refresh. There we go. Okay, now you see that icon popped up, right? Like I said, an x-ray will show up with a little x-ray sign, a lab shows up with the little medusas and a little thing around the vial. And these are icons you will just slowly start to know. Please don't try to memorize them now. Like I said, hover to discover, and you will get them straight. But I'm hovering, that tells me that someone put in an FNE request, right? So say it's been 15 minutes, the team came in, they did all their wonderful things that they do because they, honest to goodness, people do some really great work. But they're done. They've done all they're going to do or need to do. And I don't want to cancel this, but I want to complete this request, right? Let me right click in here again, and I'm going to go to the one right here that says FNE request because that's the one I'm speaking of. That's what I want to do an action on, right? I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to say complete because it's been completed, right? Apply. Okay. And you're going to see it turn yellow, right? That changed a little bit, right? If it had been a lab work or, you know, like an x-ray that had been done, it would have gone away totally. So you wouldn't have to do that in your to-do list anymore, because the events column is kind of like a mental to-do list, right? Okay, so now that I've changed that it's complete, it now has changed to yellow, and it says SME is following. So like with anything on this tracking board, I can just kind of scan through, do a quick visual, say, oh, they're now following it. Done. Okay, move on. I can keep on going with my procedure, right? Okay, great. All right, guys, let me see, what time are we at? We are at just about 50 minutes. Let's talk for another few minutes on this, and I promise you guys we'll get a 10-minute break. Everybody good with that? Bathrooms are outside the hallway. Great. Okay, so let's rock out for another 10 minutes, and then we will take a break and refresh, and then we'll go in through, do some basic charting for a patient. Sound good? Okay, good. Yeah, good. Totally. That makes sense. Okay. So that's the events column. This, like I said, it's kind of like you took a post-it note, you said, I need to draw labs and do this and do this and do this. It's right there. Everything's all a visual, right? If I go in and we said this little icon right here is the RN exam, and I go in and do my full exam, that icon will go away. So you won't see it anymore. So I know I've done it and I can move on, right? If registration has come in and they've registered the patient, it will drop off, right? I won't see it anymore. Awesome. Okay, that makes sense? Yeah. If we had more time today, I could really, really go into a lot of detail on this. But I'm just trying to get everybody a good overview so that we're all pretty solid and can hit the floor running. Your preceptors down there are fantastic. I trained them. Just kidding. I was kidding. They're really good. They'll walk you through a little bit more in depth, but this is a great overview just to kind of get the gist of all things tracking board and ER. I really could teach you an 8-hour class. Yeah, we really had to condense it down to a 2-hour today. Not optimal, but certainly we can do this. We can certainly get this done for you. Oh yeah. All right, a couple more minutes, guys, and we'll take a break. Like I said, remember, we're on this patient. The patient's information hasn't changed, has it? Still Miss Amy. Still doing our normal stuff, keeping on going. What we're seeing down this end, and this is after the events column, right? Scroll back over. There's your events column. I've just scrolled over a little bit. Now I'm on DC. Whenever the order goes in for this patient to be discharged, you will see a green arrow that will pop up, right? That will say, hey, nurse, the instructions are in for this patient. We have done all we can do. You can print and discharge the patient, right? We like it. It will tell the doctor, hey, I've done all I wanted to do, and now I've put the order in, and I'm done with this patient, unless they need something else. But I'm like documentation-wise done, and we can go on, right? Okay, good. And again, the discharge we'll get into in a little bit, but that's where it's indicated. Okay. Labs and X-rays. These are two columns that, however many orders the doctor or NP or mid-level or resident or however we're wording that these days puts in for labs, it will show up as a numerical value here. Again, I'm sorry, the system's not letting me put in some of this stuff, but we can certainly talk through it. You will see like a 3/4, 1/9, what, numbers 5/ here, because that will tell you I have ordered 5 tests and 2 have been completed, right? Make sense? Or 4 of the 5 that I've ordered, or 1 of the 6, or whatever combo. It kind of just gives you a process of what's going on there. The same thing with the X-rays. Once they're all complete, you'll get another icon that says complete, and you'll know that everything that you had ordered has been done, right? Cool. Okay. It's just there's nothing else to do for these two other than just seeing that either they're done or there's a number there. That's more for nursing, and just kind of keep a mental note of what's going on, what orders still need to be done, kind of stuff. Just more visual. Like I said, tracking board is strictly just a visual representation of what's going on. Okay. Comments. This is the best little section ever because it's all free text. Text whatever you want. And this is like, I took a Post-it note and I put it on your computer because I needed you to know something. That's what this is. It's free text. I think you have about 255 characters, although if it's that much, you need to go get up and talk to somebody. But this is if you need to tell the nurse or the doc or the resident or whomever about this patient. You could say patient in X-ray, or patient refusing this, or patient needs meds, or patients find out AMAs. That does happen, right? So or waiting on bed or anything that just needs to be told about this patient, but you can't find the resident or the doc can't find the nurse. It's just a means of communication. I do caution though, whatever is written in this space can be seen by everyone, okay? Caution, don't write things that are inappropriate, and I call this out because we've had issues with this in the past, so I'm sorry, but I have to be just cognizant of, let's write important stuff for the patient. Thank you, okay. I know, we've had some very silly things said. Sorry, yeah, they didn't realize the entire department could see it. Yeah, it was not pretty. Yeah, it was not pretty. It was funny. But yes, you can with this, yeah, it's all free text. It's all free text. Yeah, you don't have to, it's like if you come in here and click, it's not going to give you a drop down for anything because it's strictly free text. If you just need to, I mean, and this could even be blood glucose 675. Patient wants to leave, you know, patient in x-ray. Can you order an EKG? Whatever little means of communication. Yeah, it's not. The other side note to this caveat, if you want to call it that, is that this does not get saved to the chart. So don't go and put information in here that you need, that you are meaning to get into the chart, like into a note. This is going to be just like I took a Post-it note and put it on your computer about a patient. That's it. Okay, it never, once you delete it, it's gone. It's never coming back. And if I put, hi, you know, how are you? And that goes in there, give it a minute. You can come back, just delete it and say, I am fine, right? So that's it. Anytime you need to type on here, I can add to this and say hi, or I can't spell either way, or I can delete it altogether. So, you know, it's, like I said, guys, it's just a Post-it note. It doesn't say, it does not go into the chart. It's just a down and dirty means of communication, right? Okay. All right, so we're scrolling over here to this last group. I wish I could do this last grouping over here, right? These guys right here. Now, assigned bed, assigned bed status and assigned bed are all done by bed management. We have no control. These two columns are strictly a means of communication to us, nursing staff, doctors, as to when the patient is getting admitted to the upstairs, right? Okay, bed management will come in and put whatever information they need to, like the bed status will be waiting for it to be cleaned, waiting for a patient to be moved, or they might not put anything. A lot of times they don't, and that's okay. The the assigned bed right here, when your patient is admitted, everybody Okay, guys, back. You ready? Fun? Yeah? A little bit, kind of? Okay. So let's review just for a minute. Let's start here. Anybody have a question? Anything you need that doesn't make sense? We were stuck on. I know we were talking about that. Entering vital signs, and we'll get that in just a minute. I'm sorry, we're talking about that on the break. But don't stress. Let's just go back over this super quick because there's one more piece to this, and then we're going to start, talking about documentation because that's our big thing, right? Okay. Remember, we have columns going this way, rows going this way, right? Good, good, good. Make sure my screen's working here. Okay, there we go. Then we have patients, right? And as we continue this way, we're going to highlight our particular patient. We're going to give it the blue arrow. It's going to follow us all the way across, right? They'll have alerts. They'll have specific MRNs to them that should carry them through the health system. All of the events, which is like our to-dos for this, right? Okay, let's keep going, keep going, keep going. We will learn about labs and x-rays. We'll be able to put a little comment in to communicate with whomever. You keep coming and you will see all of the most updated vital signs, right, guys? That's as simple as it gets. That is the whole tracking board. And I say that with a few little caveats, but that is really just for that patient. That's all we're going to be using. There's really no other place to look for this. But let's talk about the other side to this just for a second. Because when we said beds, it's very easy, room 1 through 15. Okay, that makes sense. You might have to, I hold patient because you're holding them somewhere like in a hallway waiting to get into a bed because the bed's not cleaned or something, simple. But we're going to see some stuff down here called PA or EMS. There's a bunch of PA, right? I'm just scrolling down, guys. We're going to go back up, and then you're going to see this EMS. What those are pre-arrivals. Here at VCU, you guys know that we have a comm room, and we get a lot of EMS traffic, right? 99% of the time, they're going to call us and give us a heads up of what's coming in, right? Especially if it's trauma related, we get a much bigger heads up. But if it's deemed like an ESI 3, which is mid-level, important but not critical, life-threatening critical, sorry, I don't want to diminish it, but in the world of what we're doing, it's not threatening a loss of life or limb. We are going to do a pre-arrival. And we're going to give very generic information. Like we're going to look here, it's going to be pre-arrival. It might be 1, it might be 87. We just keep it as 1 because it's okay. We're going to give them the company they're coming from. Like this one is Forest Hill, it's Richmond Ambulance, Henrico, Hanover, Richmond City. Those are our big police departments and EMS departments. So that's kind of who we'll label it as. And we'll like 041 would be the bus number, right? Okay, so they'll come in, they'll get a generic system generated MRN, which will change when they actually get here and we register them. It's a 41-year-old male, and they're coming in for pain. That's about all the information we're going to get. But it just kind of gives us a mental note of what's coming in, how busy we already are, where we might need to delineate some rooms, just to kind of keep workflows going. So you might see no pre-arrivals, you might see 16. But that's just kind of what it is. We don't know their person's name, we don't know their history. It's just essentially like a placeholder that says, hey, you've got this coming in with this kind of situation. That's really all it is. No, we get no name, we get just the very basics of, usually stable, 32-year-old female, shortness of breath. If it's more critical than that, EMS will get on the phone they'll go through the comm room, and the comm room will contact one of the physicians, and then they can talk through what needs to happen at that point. But other than that, you're just going to see essentially just a placeholder to say, hey, this is coming in, just kind of mentally prepare for it. Yeah. Most of the time, they always call. Yeah, I think, I wouldn't quote me, but I'm almost pretty sure it's a requirement unless they're within a certain mile range or they meet certain criteria. Yeah. But I'm not all into that. And this really, in the realm of this, it's just a placeholder. Yeah. Okay. F&E is our forensic nurse consult room. They actually have their own room, and that's just more for them. They'll move a patient in there and do, help them in the best way that they know how with their skills, and then they can move them back out if they have maybe 1 or 2 F&E cases at the same time. It's just kind of a thing for them. But the one thing I do want to talk about real quick, because we didn't talk about this earlier, is all of these fun buttons up here, right? They're cute, they're colorful, they do fun stuff, right? Okay. So we had talked earlier about hover to discover, right? Big key thing for us around here, because there's, we upgrade, we change, things happen, added, deleted, all that fun stuff. Sometimes icons get really hard to keep up with. So what we do is the hover to discover. So if you don't know, just hover and it will show you things. It's fantastic. If for some reason, like I always point this one out, bed change location. If I needed to change, say they were in room 4 and I don't know, the room flooded and you need to move them to room 7. I'm just making up a scenario. It happened. Or we have a patient who came in stable and now is not. We can move them to a different room or a wholly different area. Like if they're in green and they came in for shortness of breath, but they're truly having a STEMI, we're going to pop them over to the bay real quick. Bay, we call it red. Sorry, my lingo gets a little funky. So I could come here, and now the key to all this is I need to be on my patient. I need to find my patient, right? My actual patient. Then I can click my little ED change location, and I'm going to give it a minute because it's a little slow today, kind of like me, and that's okay. So this is going to pop up, and all I did was make it bigger because I need to see things bigger. It's going to tell you the name of my patient so you can make sure you're on the right patient, right? First name, last name, good, right? It will tell you where they are, right? Okay. So all you're going to do is hit the drop down and you can move them wherever you need to go. Again, you can always scroll, right? If you wanted blue or fast track, or, they needed to go to orange, or, no, sorry, we don't even have orange anymore. Orange got deleted. Or red, you could just select whatever you needed to select. You would come right over here to our room and you'd pick the room. And these rooms will change. Yeah, exactly on this. These rooms will change to the treatment area you have chosen. So if I come over here and I choose red should only have 10 beds in it. And now it's not giving me any options. Okay, that's fun. I don't ask about my train domain some days, but it would only give me 10 options, and they would say R01, R02, and I could put them in there. Let's see, does triage give me something? Yeah, there we go. So if I move them into triage, it only gives me the option for the treatment area I have selected. So you can't put them in a room in, blue that doesn't exist, right? Okay. Now you guys are also going to notice these 2 little areas popped up yellow, right? They did, and we all know that with anything in Cerner, if it is yellow, you have to do it. You have to do it. I'm glad we can keep you guys awake. Yes. You have to do this. It will not let you out of the screen until you do it. You see the little red asterisk, and they're red. So there we go. I'm actually going to exit out, and it's going to ask me, do I want to? Yes, I do. Because I don't want to move this patient. I just want to show you guys. So registration, this one's changing locations. If we had a transfer coming in and we need to cancel it, we could. We don't use that a lot because we usually don't cancel the transfers. But you guys had asked earlier about the MD, RN, and resident signing, right? Signing up, right? You will remember a little while ago when I had to assign my relationship to this patient. Okay, this is kind of along the same line. So I'm logged in as a nurse, and that's okay. Provider check-in, let's click on that just for a minute. Everybody click on it, because you guys got to work a little bit too here. Yep, click on it. Yep, right there. The next one over. Yep, perfect. Okay, good. We'll notice that the provider, whoever is logged in the system, whatever your login is, it says your provider, your name, right? That would generally say my name, but today I'm EDRN01. You're ED3, EDRN3, you're EDR7. It's your new name. It's your new name. You might like it. I don't know. It will give you this display name. This is something you can put in whatever. So if your first name is Elizabeth, but you go by Mary, you can put in Mary, right? That will make more sense in just a second. But if you go by, like, my name is Stacy, most people just know me by Crawford. I don't know why. I guess when I first started working, we had a couple of Stacys, so they just stuck to my last name. I tend to only put Crawford in here. They know who I am when I learned how to spell my name, but they put it in there. Okay, provider role. I'm a nurse today. If I was an attending, not that they switch a lot, but you know what I'm saying. I'm a nurse, so it's going to default me. I'm going to put that there. My default relationship is going to be RN. I don't think we employ many LPNs except for in an ambulatory setting. You can do some other fun stuff with this, like mix the colors and stuff, but we're not going to do that today, and for the sake of time. I just want to get you guys working. Assigning teams, don't ever do this in the realm of the way this system is functioning, because it will keep you there and you'll have to change it every single shift you work. So we just generally don't assign teams at all, or we don't assign patients. You can, and this is something we would go in the provider side, because nurses generally won't do this because assignments change so frequently. If you really wanted to get fancy, you can assign a color. I'm just doing this really quick, guys. You can see now it's lime green. I'm going to hit OK. And that set it up so then I can select my patient, right? I'm still in Catherine right here. And I'm going to do assign provider. And you're going to see for the RN, because I assigned myself as the RN, it is now green and it's Crawford. That is me. So when you're coming in here and you're the attending or you're another nurse or whatever your status is for this, you'll be able to see that Crawford has this patient, right? So go to her because she knows what's going on. Don't go to the doctor. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I'm sorry. I like to keep it a little light, a little fun. Okay. All right. So does that make sense to everyone? Does everyone understand what that is? If I sign in as, or if I change that delineation from ED nurse to ED attending, it would put me in the MD spot. When you get your login as a resident, a mid-level NP, that grouping, you'll all get put under the resident, and it will give you the option of choosing ED resident. Right. Exactly. Oh, hold on. I'll show you that in just one second, guys. Hold on one second. Because I don't, oh, I'm sorry. They put it up here for all. So if I was a resident, a mid-level, and mid-levels for us are PAs and NPs, right? Then you would go under the ED resident. It doesn't have any charting, no, I don't want to say litigation, but no downstream effects of you picking resident if you're not a resident. Like if you're an NP or PA, that's strictly just an identification for us to know who's attached to that patient. Don't think you're going to go to court and say, well, you said you were a resident and you're an NP. Don't. It's just a means of down and dirty identification. That's all it is. No litigation, no misrepresentation of yourselves or anything. And I say that because I've had it asked before, and I know you kind of had that confused look on your face. So I just wanted to address it real quick. Guys, and the screen that's popped up right there right now, it says changes will be lost if not saved now. I'm fine with that. I was just showing you guys. No, I don't want to save it. I just want to move on with my life. Okay. So I know we just signed up, right? So now I want to unassign myself because I want to go home. I have worked my 12 or my 16. I used to do a lot of 16s. I was a little cranky by the time I went home. So I'm ready to go, right? I have done all the goodness I can do for my patients in this day, and now I'm ready to move on and pass my patients on to someone else. So I want to take my name off of this. Now, I will tell you, if two people sign up for a patient, you'll see both names. You will. This works sometimes when, like if I'm precepting a student nurse, Sometimes I'll put my name and the preceptor can sign up on that too, because the student nurses get logins for this specific to them. So sometimes I'll do that just to, one, it signals I've got a nurse that I'm precepting, and two, that they need to probably go to her for questions, or him, sorry, I don't want to say her. They need to go to them for questions, and then they'll come to me. So don't get super concerned if you see two names here. It's not the end of the world. And you can, there's a back way you can go in and unassign, but we're not going to talk about that today. All right, so if I'm done with my shift and I want to go home, right here it says unassigned. Remember, we're right here. Yep, up in the bar. Yep, right there. Okay, right there. See, you will click that, and it will unassign you. You can go home. Pack your bags, go home. Come back the next day, please. We like you. And that's how easy it is. So if you have 3 patients, you just highlight the patient, assign yourself, move on. Assign yourself, move on. You want to go home, or you switch the patient, or your assignment switched, or whatever you need to do, you just click them, unassigned, click unassigned. So it's that simple, guys, really. So remember a while back when we said initial contact for a provider? Sorry, I got something under my foot. There we go. Remember this little guy right here? Why it's called PSC, I do not know. I did not build it. Provider first contact, but it says initial patient contact. I don't know. I don't ask these questions, but that's what it is. You're walking into a room. You can hit that little icon right there for that patient, and it timestamps it, so you're good, right? Discern reports are not something we're going to use a lot down here. They're usually done for us, or more like in the business side of life. So we don't do a lot of them down here. This one right here is more for nursing, and this is like if POCT, point of care testing, right? A blood sugar, a bedside strep, urine dip. That's where you can click on that button, and it will pop you into an ad hoc form, and you can chart the results. Yeah, we'll get into that in just a second. I'm trying to get to this. I want you guys to see this, because this is our big part. Then we're going to pop into iView and do some stuff, and then I'll go back and show you ad hoc. Yeah, nursing does this a lot. We do this almost on almost any patient. Yeah, results do show up here. Yep, absolutely. You're right. This is our ED quick view, more for our providers, NPs, mid-levels, PAs. Okay. It's a quick link to take you there. Ad hoc form, that will take you right to the couple of that we need. Vital signs will take you right to the vital signs if you need to see those. I'm running through these guys real quick, so we're going to go over them in just a few minutes. If you're the PIT provider or provider in triage, you will do a reassessment on the waiting room people. If they've been here for, I believe, more than 4 hours, you'll go back and just kind of reassess and do fun stuff there. You can add an order from here. You can look at old and new EKGs. When we do our EKGs, they get uploaded to the system. And as long as they have been done at VCU, you can see all the ones that have ever been done. So that's a good little tool. And actually see not just the interpretation, but the actual EKG itself. So it's a pretty decent tool. Remember what we talked about, the IV stop times? That is the icon you will see. This little icon right here, that guy. Yep, right there. You will see that icon pop up over here if they have not been done. If the nurse has not documented against it yet, you'll see 112, however many IVs you have going on, right? And sometimes they don't get stopped, and that's okay, because if it's a vancomycin, right, and it's going to run for an hour and a half, and 20 minutes in, your patient gets in bed and gets sent upstairs, well, you're not going to stop that time, right? Because it's going to be stopped in another hour from now, or 35 minutes, or whatever it's going to be. So sometimes they don't. If they get admitted, they'll just flow on to the upstairs and continue on. But generally, if they're getting discharged from the emergency room, these have to be done. You can click here, and it will give you a nice little report, and it lets you document against them. This will take you to iView, which we're going to hit in just a second. Patient education, if you need to put that in the discharge. And then we've got the depart process. So anytime they're getting discharged from the emergency department, going home, not going upstairs, but going home, we'll go to that. And I'm going to try to hit that in just a few minutes. But let's pop into iView, because that's where most of our documentation happens. So we've got our arrow, right? Miss Bonnie is who we want to speak of today. So I need to, she's been put in our system. We've already done our triage. Let me see. Let's back that up for a hot second. Yeah, okay, so she needs her triage done. So let's talk about that for a second before we go into this, because the triage is going to be important because it's going to put in some other key pieces of information that we need. So I'm going to pick Miss Bonnie, right? Because that is my person. We need to talk about her. So I need to complete her triage. I'm going to go to this icon and just click on it once, and it's going to think for just a second, and that's fine. We'll let it think. No, this is going to be a nursing responsibility. Yeah, this is not, this is a system generated item the minute they get put in registration. So this will be a system generated item. This is not something a provider of any kind will have to put in for. Yeah, maybe one step, like 6 steps. Okay, so this is an ad hoc form for us. Pretty much adopted from paper, right? So we're gonna really just go fill out the form. Right here, chief complaint, you could just say abdominal pain or whatever they've got going on, and you simply, like you're following me here, past medical history, you can, this is all free texting, you can say hypertension. When I learned how to spell, can't spell well. You'll see some very phonetical spelling on this as well too, friends. It's pretty funny. And you just follow this system all the way down, right? Now you were asking me about vital signs a minute ago, right? On the break we were talking about, okay, this is where we get to put it in. So we would come here and it says vital signs assessment. The minute you click yes, it brings up another layered, and let's say this layered ad hoc form. I say layered because you can see that it pops a little bit smaller in front of the previous form, right? Okay, make more sense in just a minute, but hang with me. So patient having pain or discomfort. If you say yes, you'll get another layer of the pain assessment form. It's just a form. Imagine this printed and you check the boxes. If it's on the computer, you just simply click the box you want. That's it. I'm not going to go full into this today. This is a little bit more of what your preceptor will do. I just want to give you a little understanding of what this is, okay? So if I'm going to say unable to assess for some reason, just go with me for a minute. So I've documented the things. Let's just do abdominal pain. There we go. You can do multiples or 1 or 12 or 22 or whatever this patient's got going on. This gives you, you know, an assessment. Eye pain. I'm just clicking some things. They've got some vomiting, some tiredness. Again, you can always scroll, and when you scroll, it gives you plenty of options. Yes, no? Yes. You will see some sections that are strictly for pediatric use. As an adult, you wouldn't have to do these, right? Okay. So now we're going to pretend like we have just done all of these great things in this form that we could possibly do, because we have checked all the boxes we have needed to check for this patient, right? You see this guy right here, friends? Remember when I was saying this is layered? This is a layered form. That means we have literally like take a sheet of paper and just layered on the top of each other, flipping through the old school chart, right? Okay. So if I put on all the information in this that I deem necessary for this patient today, and I'm happy with it, and it paints an accurate picture, and it's all the information I can think to put in, and I'm happy with it, if I click this, it will save it and take me back to the previous page, right? Not to the beginning, but the previous page. I want to make that very apparent to everyone, okay? Because people are like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And it went away, and now I can't fix it. And they freak out. And I'm like, calm down. Calm down. We're going to do this. So that's all it does. It saves it, and it reverts it back to the previous page. Same thing. You're going to see the same thing on this page. Let's say no. It's just yelling at me because I didn't, I wanted to change the stuff I already charted. They're not having any pain. There's no reason to do that. And then this, if I'm giving it a minute, it's being a little precocious this morning. There we go. I can come in here and I can put in 142/83. They were sitting. The pulse rate is 87. It was regular. full pulse increase. I took it on the, let's do right arm. You just come in here and free text in the spots that are required, like right here, or you can select the options from these, right? Okay, full, regular. I'm doing a very brief assessment, friends. I'm just putting in some basic stuff real quick. The cool thing about this as well is it will give you the option for different types of temperatures depending on how you had to take it, oral, rectal, axillary. So we're going to put this in Celsius, so remember that. Don't go putting in 98.6 and wondering why it's flagging all over the place and they think your patient is now septic, because this really should be like 37 because it's all Celsius, right? The good thing is it does the conversion right underneath, right? Right there. If you put in the Celsius, it's a conversion. So if you don't know the exact conversion, the conversion's not in front of you. One second, hold on. Sorry, really working on me. You can, I hate to say guesstimate, but it will show you. So if I do 35 as a Celsius, so just a little side note, just like to show people. And they're on room air, right? And again, if I need to scroll, I can, but there's really nothing else here. And I'm happy with this form. And again, I'm going to select, it kind of looks like a little, I hate to say like a U-turn symbol, but that's kind of what it is. And the minute I do that, it's going to save it and it's going to bring me back to this, right? Okay, so I'm going to do a quick, trying to keep good on my time. So I only have about 20 more minutes with you guys. But this is ad hoc form. This is really it. I'm just going to do an actual, you have to put your, now again, we were in Celsius, now we're in kilos. So let's go through that. And this one is really nice because it gives you your estimations right here, right? Good, yep. So let's just say they're 54.4. And then it's going to ask you how you got this. There we go. And then we're also going to do the same for height. When I learn how to type, that's going to be awesome. And again, it will give you in feet and inches as well, right here, see? So, and then we're going to just say estimated or stated or actual or however you want to do that. This, again, you can scroll. This does some stuff with the pediatric population. If you need to, you can put it there. But we're happy with the information we put in. Again, I'm going to go back a layer. I'm going to say okay to this and go back a layer. And now it's going to put it in there. And again, all of this you can go through and document what's pertinent to your patient. Don't feel like you have to answer every item here. We do document by exception, but please put in the things that are pertinent to your patient and that may have some downstream effects, okay? So this one, again, you're seeing something yellow. Yellow, what does yellow mean? Yellow mean is yes, you must do it. You cannot escape it. Okay, it's like caution tape. That's what it is. This patient has no known fall. You can also ask the questions, you know, do you feel safe at home? Do you have an emotional or behavioral complaint, right? Are you being hurt by a family member? And I point those out because some people are like, well, I don't know where to ask this. You can ask this in the realm of this, and this is your place to document it, correct? Right. And then we can come down to allergies, right? You can say no known medication allergies. It brings up your allergy screen. So if you had to add a bunch, and again, I'm not going to go through this because we're running out of time. I just want to give you some basic stuff. You can document what is needed to here, right? Really, I thought this would be a little quicker. Do no changes needed because there's yellow. There's more yellow. This is, have we traveled outside the country? No, we have not. No, we have not. And you'll notice the minute I click criteria, it goes away. These are fancy and important. will be your sign form. Go ahead and sign it. Yep, click right there. And it's turned it black. Yeah, and I get that the blood pressure is orange. But remember, anything that changes the color is usually out of limits. Right. 154/75 isn't horrible, but it's not great. It's out of the norm. So we want to, make note of it. Sorry, I'm blanking out. Make note of what's going on there. Okay, so that is, now that we've turned it black because we signed it, it is in the chart. It's not going anywhere, okay? If it was purple, we'd have problems. If it's black, we're good to go, right? Okay, now, this is how you chart for every single one of these bands all the way down the road. I want everybody to pick one, pick a random band, doesn't matter what it is, and go through it. Just chart whatever it asks you to. I want you to pick something that you're not sure, like I'm going to pick withdrawal scales, right? Yep. Nausea, vomiting, like I said, you either double click on the cell and you do what it essentially asks you. Either you're going to free text, like right there. Yep. If it doesn't give you anything, it's just asking for text, whatever you need to text into that spot, right? Or that one, yep, that one. Yep, what is that, CWA scale? Yep, same one I'm on up here. Yep, right up here. See? Sorry. And you choose the qualification of that cell, right? Absolutely, you're spot on today. Yes. This one I'm going to buzz through super quick, guys. I'm just double clicking. It says tactile disturbances. I double click on the cell. It gives me options. I'm going to pick the option that matches my patient. Oh, sorry, skip that one. And the reason I'm doing this quickly is because once I fill out all of this criteria, it will auto give me a score, right? This is great for CWAs. We do get the opiate withdrawal scale. We'll do the sedation scales if we have a sedated patient. So that's how they work. But that is as simple as it's going to get. There's one caveat I'm going to show you in just a second, but that's it. And I'm going to turn it purple, or excuse me, turn it black, because I signed it. Remember, we came up here to sign it. Yeah, you can go ahead and sign it. Absolutely. Yeah, you're not hurting anything. We're in the train domain. Absolutely, you're doing awesome. Yep, go ahead and sign it, because I have my time column. I had my correct patient. I had my time column. I had the correct band that I wanted, right? Yep, guys, that is as simple as it gets. When we're done with this, guys, we can all stay in here. We can play around with this a lot more. I know this is just a brief overview, but let's play, and we'll go through a bunch of stuff. And like I said, you can't hurt anything in this domain. It's the train domain. We're good to go, right? Because we are quickly running out of time, and I want to get through 2 more little things with you guys, right? Yep. Well, we can certainly stay. Absolutely, absolutely. If you need to stay, I'd love it. Please stay. Yeah, we'll do a bunch of just redoing a lot of this. Yeah, but all of these are the exact same way, guys. Same way. And again, we're charting by exception. So if I'm in here and this is my ED trauma assessment, because they came in as a Delta or an Echo, right? That's our trauma criteria. And I put in a urinary catheter because that's what I did. I double click and we can pick the option. Their surgical procedure and they're unable to ambulate. Both of those, right? The activity, it was inserted through the urethra. It's indwelling continuous with a 10 millimeter sterile with a dependent drainage bag that is below the bladder, and the tolerance is good, and I can do a little comment of whatever I need. Now, what's good or bad about this? Yep, the good, that the information is in there. We're going to assume it's correct because we just charted on our patient, right? Where do I go from here? Yes, got to sign the form. Absolutely. Our crowd is doing well today. Because why? It was purple. Yep, purple doesn't work for us, does it? Okay. All right. Yep. So now that we've made it black, it's in the chart for all to see. So now that it's in the chart for all to see, what happens if I've made a mistake, right? Let's talk about it. So say I'm on whatever piece of information I have made a mistake on, because it happens, we're human, right? It happens. Okay, so it's not going to set, let's just fix it. So let's say urinary catheter balloon. This will tell me the criteria that was put in, by who, on what day, what time, right? Okay. I right click, because we like to right click, right? It will let me modify it, unchart it, change the date and time, right? So if I meant, because remember the two options for this are the 5 ml or the 10 ml. If I hit modify, I can go back and choose the other one. And then I re-sign the form. Yep, just like that. Turns it black and I move on. So let's do that real quick, just so you can see it. There you go. It will give you a little blue triangle that signifies, hey, something's been changed, but the information is now correct. If you have gone through and you charted your full assessment and you messed it up because you charted it on the wrong person, that's a problem, right? You can right click again and you can say unchart. It will make you choose a reason, either one of these or an other. And if it's other, you can free text a comment. Charted on wrong patient, you know, incorrect order, incorrect time, whatever the action was, and then you hit sign, and it will say in error, but it will take out that information, okay? Yep. It will still show who did it. Everything is Cerner's tracked. Yep. But does this make sense to you guys? Yep. Like I said, you can click on any band. These are the bands, remember. Find whatever band is within that band. Hey, you know, keep going down the road here. And then you can chart the things that are appropriate to your patient. If your patient is not having any respiratory symptoms, you might not have to check any respiratory systems, right? If they came in because they sprained their ankle, then let's try on spraining their ankle, right? You come into the nursing assessment, you could come down to musculoskeletal joint. We're going to say changes noted, and you can pick the spot, right? Let's do right extremity. Then it will ask, you know, it keeps revolving down as to what you need. We're going to talk about our right knee. I'm just going to make up a knee. That sounds great. We have some kind of deformity. We're going to put a brace on it of some sort. Orthotics, I'm sorry, I had a little moment. You can say other, whatever you need it to type. You can hit the X, get out of that. So, you know, it gives you the options, and you really just choose your band, select your criteria, always being cognizant of the time, remember? Yeah. If we had more time, I would certainly go deeper into this with you, but this is truly it. This is truly it. Some of these, depending on which emergency room you work in, will have a little different criteria. So I'm trying to give you a high level today. But this is really good. This is real, you know, you guys are picking this up very well. Most people that once they understand this is Excel, I hate to say it like it's just that, but it works in a kind of the same manner. Most people pick this up very quickly. All right, guys. One other thing real quick. The MAR, medication administration record. Now this one doesn't have anything in it at the moment, but if the doctor had placed any orders for any medications, they will all show up here. I wish I could show up to you today, but at least you can identify where they come from. The MAR, medication administration record, right? This is not the medication list. Medication lists are two different things. Medication list is what the patient is on every day, all day, right? In the ER world. The MAR, the medication administration record, is the meds we are going to give them while they're here with us. Yep. Okay, last thing I'm going to show you, and I will let you go, I promise, because we're about out of time today. Oh, I'm sorry, let me go back to that. Remember, How did we get back into our patient if we clicked out? Yep, double click, perfect. So I just double clicked on the arrow, brought me right back into this, remember? Just gonna make it bigger so I can see it. And then sometimes it might put you here. Remember, this is our menu. We're gonna go right back to iView. We can cancel out of that because we're not gonna associate to a monitor. And we can see that in the 11 o'clock hour, there were vital signs charted, right? Now, you'll notice that there's 2, right? Oh, sorry, I clicked the wrong button here. That means there were 2 sets. This is the most recent. The most recent will always show up first, right? Okay. Because we could go back in and change the time. Take whatever time frame worked for you, and most likely pick it up. Yep. It's just doing that because it's just showing you 2, and we've got it set at the hour mark. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay. So we're back in here, right? And I wanted to exit out of this. I'm sorry, I went faster than I should have. So we're here, and we're done with this Bonnie, and we want to get back to our tracker board. There's tracker shell, tracking board, 2 different words for the same thing, right? You can either, don't click anything yet, but you can either exit right here, get out of this chart, or you can hit the tracking shell button up here. Either one, totally fine, doesn't matter. I just prefer hitting that one because it makes more sense to me. What I do. Okay, and it's just going to bring you back to the tracker, right? The good thing is that it should update with all the new information we've already put in, right? Okay, all right, good. All right, so now we've done all the fun things we can for Miss Bonnie. We've documented a bunch of stuff. So let's get Miss Bonnie out of here so she can go recuperate in her own home, right? Because that's the best place in the world. So what we're going to do, remember what I said, hover to discover. We're going to come up here to our depart process. And we're going to click it, and we're going to give it just a moment to hang on there. There we go. Sorry, I take a little drink there. It's going to open this fun thing up. And this is all of the discharge information, right? This is the visual representation of what we're going to print out and hand to the patient. So most of these will be filled out by the physicians, such as the patient education, prescriptions, stuff of that nature. That gets filled out by the physicians, and that's what you guys will get in your next class, right? And this is just kind of, I'm going to give you the high level for this class. Give you an introduction to it, right? Remember when I kept talking about those stop times, ED infusion times, right? If for some reason you hadn't done it all the way beforehand, you must do it before you can discharge this patient. They're going to force you. So you go to this little, I call it a pencil. That's what it's called. And this one, oh, I forgot this one doesn't have any. If you see a blue check mark by it, that means all of the IVs that have been given to that patient have been resolved for the stop time. So either you had the previous nurse before you, or you've been an awesome nurse, which you guys are already, and you've already pre-done this. If not, you can always come to this screen and click the pencil icon, and it will let you go through each of them and chart against them if you need to. But like I said, the diagnosis, the patient education, prescriptions will all be filled in by the physician. The admission, bed assignment stuff is in this area, but it does not show up in this discharge because we're just strictly talking about discharging the patient from the emergency room, right? Okay. What you're going to see here in this section right here, since I'm pointing, is what the patient is going to see. So you can enter the information over here, again, circling, and you'll see it over here, right? Okay, you follow me? Yep. Oh yeah, you can print this. Absolutely. What we're doing currently, I'm not sure if we're going to continue, but what we do right now is we print a copy for the chart, because we still do a very tiny amount of paper charting that they'll actually sign, and then we give a copy to the patient. It also gets uploaded to their portal. Yeah. Yep. It's right uploaded to the portal. So he's got that as well. But you can read through here and see all of the information that has been inputted, yes, I think, into the information for the patient, right? It says end of patient instructions when it's completely done. You can put in all of their follow-ups, their antibiotics, their medications, their if they have COPD, you can put in information about that, or asthma, or whatever their condition is. You can put it all in here and print this for the patient, right? Like I said, this exact copy gets uploaded to the portal as well. So even if they don't want it printed, like when I come to the doctor, I don't like it printed because I know if I really need it, I can go to the portal. Some people like hard copies. Either way, so you can you can print this, do this, fix this. This gives you a preview essentially if you want to add or change or whatever. The structure itself is as it's going to be. But if you need to put in like education for something, you can go in and change some of the education wording. We can also put these in about 5 different languages right now, or we will be soon. I don't know how to show that to you yet because I don't think the interface is actually done for that yet. But when they do, we have about 4 or 5 new languages that we're going to be able to put this into. I think that's coming out soon. So just know that will happen as well. So when we're done, when we've got it all together, it's all beautiful, we will actually hit this button right here. Oh, it must be dispo form. I'm sorry. Let me back up a little bit before we do that. See, so you guys got to watch me some days. This ED dispo form. This is another layered form, but it only gets 1 layer, so you'll notice that we don't get the little, what I call the turnaround symbol, but we'll just figure out the information that you put it in here. They're going home, or are they getting admitted? What's happening to that patient? Are they able to walk or wheelchair? Are they carried? How they got out of here, right? What is their pain level at discharge? So whatever it is, right? If it is higher than 3, you're going to have to give them a little bit of information here, right? If they're going to the floor, this is where you can type in the actual nurse, and this is a global list of VCU health employees. So it's searchable when you're transferring. Like if I hit, let's do transfer, admit to P, there we go, admit to PCDU, we can come in here and do either a global search or just type, okay? All right, this one's going home. Okay, so I'm done. It is as it should be. I'm happy with all the information. I'm going to sign the form, remember, because we signed everything. And now I have the check mark there. Sorry, got a little ahead of myself earlier. So now I'm truly ready to discharge this patient. So I'm going to hit discharge, and it's going to think about it just for a moment. Okay, that's fine. This is just telling me I have a verbal order, which is fine because this is a train domain. But generally, this would have printed. Let me minimize this just for a second. There we go. Because there's a print option here, and you can just do save and close. We'll let it think for a minute. It's thinking. There we go. And it takes me right back to the tracker. It did not take my patient off the tracker. It just said that we have discharged them. So, yep. It doesn't take them off the tracker. Still leaves them on there. I have to manually go in and take them off. But they're changing that at the moment. But why am I a little patient? There we go. What I would do is I would come in here and I really just right clicked on Miss Bonnie because we're done with Miss Bonnie, right? Yep. And if you go into discharge process, it will take her right off the screen. Yep. So does all of that make sense to everyone? I know we just covered a tremendous amount of information in a very tight time frame. You guys have been amazing. Does the tracker board and charting an iView make sense to everybody? Right. You're just going to go right into the particular band, and I don't know how to tell you to know what's in each band other than kind of reading the labels. And it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, if we go, let me click on Miss Bonnie. Miss Bonnie and I are tight today. Come back in here to iView, and I'm going to close that out because I don't want to associate. Some of these you'll start to know. Like if I'm putting in an IV, I go to vascular access. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? Yeah. And then I can chart against it and go on from there. If I'm putting in a Foley, drains and tubes, right? And I can, like we did, we documented all the particulars to that. Some of the more random things, like some of the sedation stuff, you just have to remember where it is from using it. Yeah, I don't have any better way than that. Yeah, you just got to start to remember to, you know, where some pieces are. And you get very, using this day in and day out, because this is the only thing ER is going to use. Like, we're not going to go in into power chart document as a nurse. We're going to stay just in this section right here, just within these bands. So you're not going anywhere else. So a couple days in, you start to really remember where things are. And it's a good system. It's really a good system. So it's really intuitive. You start using it. You really can customize it to make it your own. But it's really just a visual system so that you can see what's going on with the patient. Yep. I'm sorry. Labs. No, on the events tab. Oh, okay. Let's go back over there just for a second. The events tab. When that's a system driven from when a physician puts in an order. So, order driven. Sorry. So when the doctor puts in orders for CBC, a CMP, strep, UA, all of those will show up with however many icons they put orders in for. Might be 6 little icons. They're not linked to, like, if the first icon's not linked to the strep. They're just reminders. So you can go in and, you know, complete 4 of them, but you still have 2 to do. It just kind of keys you into that. Yeah. Yep. And yeah, that key, that was registration. Yeah, they work in IDX, something none of us work in. So we let them just do what they need to do. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else? Anybody got good questions? You guys are really doing awesome. So just kind of recap, we went over the whole tracking board, right? We talked a bunch about that. We talked about charting an eye view, right? Any questions? Anybody? You just gotta learn it. Yeah, but yeah, you'll get there. You really will. You really will, I promise. And we discharged the patient, right? Now this was just a 2-hour class. We're doing more. You guys are more than welcome to stay here and with me, please. I'd love it. We can go back over a bunch of stuff. But that at least gives you the basics so you can function and understand how this system works. You guys have all of my contact information. It's right on the front of your scenarios that I hope you kept. You can certainly call me and email me with any questions, any thoughts, quandaries, queries, conundrums, confusions, all of those fun words. So I hope that this helps you guys. And if anyone needs me for anything else, you're more than welcome to contact me. Thanks, guys.